Welcome, everyone. See, we still have a couple more folks trickling in from the waiting room, but I'm going to go ahead and get us started today. So happy Tuesday. As you can see on the screen, we're hoping that folks will introduce themselves in the chat as we're getting going here. So feel free to tell us where you're joining us from, your organization, of course, your name. A couple of just quick housekeeping notes that I'm going to cover, and then I'll pass it to Steve Herzenberg to sort of set the scene for today. So this meeting is being recorded as well as live streamed to our Facebook page. That recording will be made available after the event is through. Probably give us a couple of days to get our follow-up email out, but any of the links you see in the chat today, any of the PowerPoint presentations, as well as the recording will all be shared out. So you'll get all of that shortly. If you want to enable closed captioning for this event, you should be able to by either clicking the three dots at the bottom of your screen along that Zoom toolbar, and then finding captions and clicking enable, or you might just have a button that says enable closed captioning. If you need help with any of the closed captioning or transcriptions, please just let us know. We're happy to help. You can reach out to myself or Liam, who is here with providing some technical assistance. Also, we will be happy to take questions in the chat as we're going. So definitely put those in as you're continuing to introduce yourself to all of the people that are just joining. Welcome. Please introduce yourself in the chat and also feel free to drop any questions as the event proceeds, and we'll hopefully have some time to answer all of those towards the end. And I think that covers most of our housekeeping items. So I am going to go ahead and pass it to Steve Herzenberg with Keystone Research Center to provide us a little bit more context for today.
Thanks so much, Molly. And if someone could pull up my PowerPoint, that will.
I will grab that now.
Yeah, to help me. So yeah, I'm an economist with Keystone Research Center and the co-director of Reimagine Appalachia. It's great to be here today, and thank you, all of you, for attending. I guess one tagline for today could be backed by popular demand. About a year ago, in the lead up to the first round RISE PA applications, Reimagine Appalachia and Keystone Research Center and various partners on this call today put together two virtual webinars and then an in-person meeting in Pittsburgh in the middle of July, all of them aimed at helping applicants to RISE PA, which was a new and exciting but also complex program and complex application, helping companies put in proposals and higher quality proposals. And we're delighted that now that RISE PA has received its first round of proposals and awarded its first 31 medium and large grants, a number of the companies that participated in the series last year expressed to the RISE PA program the value of that series in terms of the hand-holding and support people received. And so the program asked Reimagine and Keystone to get together with their partners and to do what was possible in the small window available this year until the deadline of July 15th. So if we move on to the next slide, you'll see that this year we're going to do two events at this point. We're doing this one today, which is kind of introduction to RISE PA. And then next week, 9 days from today, there's another in-person convening in Pittsburgh. This time at the gorgeous new facilities at the Pittsburgh Foundation. So one real strong message today is those of you who are listening, we hope there's one or two applicants or potential applicants in the audience. Later on, we'll find out. But anybody on this call who, technical assistance provider, nonprofit, whatever the nature of your organization, if your networks include companies that are eligible for RISE PA and that are already working on an application or considering an application, please encourage them to attend that meeting next week. We will have a critical mass of technical assistance providers, so we really do need customers there who can benefit from the kind of support that we can provide. One addition beyond what was possible last year is we're going to have a couple of grantees at the meeting, and they can talk concretely about the program that was funded and take questions. So you can hear from the horse's mouth about how to submit a successful proposal. A critical point now, and the PowerPoint has some links, is that RISE PA a year ago was a concept, an exciting one, but obviously nothing had been awarded yet. Now there are 31 grantees. You can read about them in the press release the Commonwealth put out. You can actually get more information on them on a dashboard that the next slide shows a picture of. So the Commonwealth is trying to do a good job of profiling RISE PA grantees in different ways, as the next slide shows. I think it's the next slide. Molly, there you go. Okay, so that's the page where the RISE PA is profiling the dashboard, they call it. So you can see physically where the grantees are. You can see on the left-hand side, electrification is a big bar. On-site renewable is a smaller bar. So there's sort of a profiling of the technologies deployed by the successful grantees. And this is just the beginning. I mean, part of the point of RISE PA in terms of putting this kind of information online is to be transparent and to help future applicants, but it's the first part and one element of RISE PA's efforts to create a real learning community of grants that starts with grantees, but that facilitates the spreading within sectors, within regions, when it comes to applying different technologies for reducing emissions. The goal from the beginning has always been to use RISE PA grants to light the torch of a stronger community of practice in terms of decarbonizing Pennsylvania's industry. So if you keep going to the next slide, you see actually the breakdown that just puts in numbers the left-hand side of the previous chart in terms of how much money has been awarded for different kinds of ways of reducing emissions. If you go to the next slide, we're about ready to turn things over to Catherine Tully, the program manager for RISE PA. Again, we're going to beat this dead horse until it's 3:30, which is we want more registrants for next week, and we want your help getting applicants in the room. You can tell those applicants, you can tell their grant writers, and we promise you will be telling the truth, that the best use of one of the days they have left before that looming deadline of July 15th would be to spend it in that room in Pittsburgh. They will put in a better proposal. They will have a better chance of winning. So the last slide, I think, has contact information for the Keystone and Reimagine teams. Oh no, that's this slide. Actually, this slide and the next slide are stolen from Catherine, because it's really important that you know where the state's information on RISE PA is. And it's really important that you know that they're doing weekly office hours until that deadline of July 15th. So this program is nothing if not transparent and accessible to people. They want proposals. They want them to be good. They don't want people to be confounded by the application. The last slide, and you don't need to show that, Molly, because people will get that in their packet. It just has contact information for the Reimagine and Keystone leads on RISE PA. But with that, we get to the main event, which is to hear from Catherine Tully. And she's going to run through the basics of the program. And then we'll hear from a couple of other people drilling down on the Fair Labor Bonus and the Community Benefits Bonus. Catherine Tully, who, like Louis Crack before her, is a delight and the exemplar of a committed and extremely competent public servant. Kathy, take it away.
Thank you so much, Steve. My name is Catherine Tully. So good afternoon, everyone. I'm leading the RISE PA grant program, which is housed here at PADEP. And here with me today are Ellie Cadden, one of our energy program specialists. And then I'd also like to acknowledge Alana Colvin from our small scale award track team at PennTap. Next slide, please. Okay, and this is our full slide deck from our kickoff webinar. So I wanted to preface that we're not going to go through all the slides today, but the full slide deck will be distributed after today's call. So we're going to go over kind of a speed run. So I have 12 minutes today to go through kind of the high level program logistics, and then where you can get more information on how to get in touch with us and then how to apply. Okay, next slide, please. So we're working off of a $396 million award from EPA under the Climate Pollution Reduction Grants Program. So as we like to joke, we did receive a few bucks from the feds to do this, and we are granting out $360 million, $40 million to the small scale award track, $320 million to the medium and large award tracks. And then on the next slide, we will preview. This is the amount of funding that has been awarded to our round one team so far. So we had 31 applicants who were awarded in round one. We have had one applicant, unfortunately, have to drop out of the first round. So we have approximately, if we go to the next two slides. Okay, one more slide. Thank you. We have approximately $52 million remaining. And I am also happy and pleased to share that as of today, like just before this call, actually, we received approval to extend our round two application window to July 31st of 2026. So the ending date will be 4:59 p.m. July 31st, rather than the initial closing date of July 15th. So we're pleased to give our applicants and technical assistance providers an extra 2 weeks to get those applications together. Okay, next slide, please. Okay, so we're gonna go ahead and skip over this one. Next slide. And talk a little bit about industrial sector emissions. So in order to be eligible for an award, projects must reduce emissions from across Pennsylvania's industrial sector, which, as many of you know, is the highest emitting sector statewide, accounting for approximately 30% of Pennsylvania's total GHG emissions. Hence the focus of the industrial sector being the focus of our implementation grant application to EPA. So we're looking at emissions from 4 subgroups. That includes industrial fossil fuel combustion, industrial process emissions, natural gas and oil systems, and fugitive emissions such as methane from the coal and abandoned mine sector, as well as natural gas and oil systems. And then we also, for RISE PA, are including emissions from industrial electricity usage, even though those emissions are accounted for under the electricity sector in our GHG inventory. And then just for everyone's awareness, we are talking about reducing scope 1 and scope 2 emissions at industrial facilities. Okay, in terms of eligible projects and the project types for which we're looking to receive applications, we will be offering grants for a wide range of projects because there really is no one-size-fits-all solution to decarbonizing industry. As a result, we've intentionally left the definition of an eligible project very broad, and ultimately projects must deploy one or more of the decarbonization solutions listed on this slide. And I will say, based on the lessons learned that we've received from round one, our more successful applicants, or those who achieved the greatest emissions reduction, did stack several technologies together in order to achieve that 20% or greater emissions reduction threshold that is a requirement for the medium and large scale award tracks. So we ask you to consider how you may achieve multiple project types within one application. Okay, next slide. So as I touched on briefly, we do have 3 separate award tracks, and then we have Alana Colvin on the call today to answer some questions about the small scale track in one of today's breakout sessions. Ellie and I are here to represent and to answer questions for the medium and large scale tracks. And as you can see, there are a few differences between the small scale and the medium and large eligibility, as well as the program requirements. So next slide, please. Okay, in terms of the award structure, as I mentioned previously, there's 40 million available in the small scale award track. So as Alana can attest to, we are currently on the round 4 solicitation for the small scale award track. We've currently awarded approximately 5 million in round 1 awards for the small scale award track. And if someone could post the small scale award announcement link in the chat, I'd appreciate that. We are working on scoring round 2 and round 3 right now. And then again, as mentioned previously, on the medium and large scale side, we've awarded approximately 267 million in round 1. And as of right now, with the one candidate dropping out, we have approximately 54 million remaining for the medium and large round 2. Okay, next slide. We do have 3 bonus awards as part of the program. The GHG emissions reduction bonus is an automatic guarantee for anyone who can achieve a 21% or greater annual emissions reduction. And then we have Carlos Clausel-Velez on the call from the Renewable Thermal Collaborative and World Wildlife Foundation, who is going to discuss our community benefits and fair labor bonuses. So I'm going to go ahead and skip over these slides, but they will be available in the packet that we distribute after today's call. Okay, and Ellie, if you could go to the medium and large scale requirement slide. Okay, so we're going to very quickly buzz through. If someone could give me a time check, I'd appreciate it. We're going to go ahead and just buzz through some of these overall program requirements. So the big thing to consider for round 2 is that we do have a period of performance deadline. It's going to be coming up much sooner than we all would like for the round 2 applicants. So our current timeline is that we are ending the round 2 application window July 31st and are looking to begin our administrative review and then scoring process almost immediately following the closure of the window. As of right now, we are kind of going on our original deadline from round 1 and hoping and praying that we can get all of this scoring and analysis and approvals done and award announcements made. We're hoping by late December and tentatively having a January contract execution timeframe for the round 2 awards, although we have some flexibility to go out as far as April again if we run into a delay as what we had to deal with in round 1. All of our projects must be completed by April 1st, 2029. So we've been sharing this with our grantees, and I think we can share this on today's call. We are currently expecting to request a 1-year extension with EPA, although we are not able to request that 1-year extension until the last year of our grant, which would be 2029. So as of this time, that 1-year extension is not guaranteed. So those are a couple timeframe related things that we'll want you to consider. We're currently recommending that grantees schedule their projects such that they could be completed by December of 2028. And that's primarily to give grantees a few months of wrap-up time on the tail end of the projects, including wrapping up bonus awards and then the last 10% payouts before the end of that period of performance. Okay, next slide, please. Okay, just to touch on this briefly, this is a reimbursement grant program. And so the base award is a 30% base award, 70% cost share. If you add on the additional bonuses, you can get up to potentially a 60% grant, 40% cost share. So that's something to keep in mind. We did incentivize those bonus awards for a reason. And 90% of that base grant award is available as project costs are incurred. The remaining 10% is withheld until completion of the project. And then as noted on the screen, bonus awards are also withheld until project completion and verification has been completed. Okay, next slide. So Ellie, let's go ahead and just kind of skim through these next few slides for all of the facility eligibility, and let's go to ineligible projects. And again, these slides will be, the full slide deck will be available after today's call. So we do want to note that projects that received an allocation of the Advanced Energy Project Credit Allocation Tax Credit, otherwise known as 48C, are ineligible. Projects undertaken solely to comply with existing local, state, or federal laws and regulations are not eligible. This includes projects to aid regulated entities in complying with EPA or DEP regulatory requirements. And then in the event that the project location is subject to any such requirements, the applicant is required to demonstrate that all resulting reduction benefits are in excess of reduction requirements. So there is a little bit potential leeway for some facilities in that circumstance. We also are not able to award projects to proposing to plug abandoned or orphan gas wells, as there are already other funding programs for that here at DEP. Okay, next slide. So in terms of cost share, that could include cash or in-kind contributions. Applicants may include other sources of funding that have already been secured as an element of the cost share, although we do ask that you check the terms and conditions of your other, if it's a public funding match in particular, to see if that other funding is eligible to be used for match. reasonable costs associated with planning, development, and design of the project and bonus awards, including feasibility and engineering studies, may be eligible for reimbursement, and that would be on or after October 1st of 2024, which is the beginning of DEP's grant with EPA. Next slide. Okay, eligible expenditures can include labor and capital expenditures listed on this slide. Grantees are required to complete measurement, monitoring, and verification over the duration of the project and are also able to submit for reimbursement to help cover MMV costs, and we refer to that as the, MMV stipend. Next slide. Okay. There are expenses that are eligible for your cost share and towards the total project cost, but are ineligible for reimbursement. So that's an important distinction as you're pulling your budgets together. Reasonable costs that are associated with planning, development, and design, as noted previously, are eligible. So expenditures can be included in the applicant's cost share and included in the total project cost as noted, but cannot be reimbursed. So I just want to emphasize that again. Okay, next slide. Thank you. The second type of expenditure restriction includes a list of expenses that are completely ineligible, meaning that these expenses cannot be included in the applicant's cost share, the total project cost, or reimbursement. So we just want to reiterate, it is imperative that applicants understand these expenditure restrictions because we do have to subtract them from your total project cost if you submit them in your application. And just keep in mind, the bonus awards are calculated off of that total project cost. The MMV stipend or allowance is calculated off that total project cost. So we want to make sure that you're getting that correct on the first submission. So these expenses can include land acquisition permits or landscaping, advertising or business startup costs, and some of the other costs that you see here on the screen. So again, if you have any questions about these, we're happy to work with your team and have a pre-application screening call to work through some of these questions with you. When submitting your primary application, you will need to specify your chosen award track and provide a detailed estimate, as noted, of your total project cost. The primary grant application will require the basic information listed on this slide. So I'm not going to go over each of these individually, but we do encourage you to check out the application as soon as you can. You do have the ability to log into our enterprise grant system portal, start the application and save it. So you don't have to sit down and do a marathon session of filling out the application. We do realize it's very technical. It takes a while to pull all that together. So we encourage you to work on it step by step. We also encourage, if you're working with a team of people who are pulling different parts of your application together, please do a QA/QC of any numbers that you're submitting in your detailed budget table versus your project narrative. That was a lesson learned from some of our applicants in round one. And if we see conflicting information in your application, we may have to issue a application or pre-selection clarification call with you to correct that information. That takes more time for our team to review these applications. So please do your best to check all your numbers, dot your I's and cross your T's before you submit. Okay, next slide. So there are other elements that you'll need to go through. We're going to go ahead and just skip through these. Next slide. We do have the ability to identify information as trade secret or confidential, proprietary, or business information. I do want to note that the whole application cannot be considered CBI, and there are specific requirements in the form that give you directions on how to fill it out. It does need to be filled out correctly for us to be able to protect it in the case of a right to know law request. Okay, next slide. I think we touched briefly on the GHG emissions reduction estimate. We do encourage you to look at the technical assistance that's included in our updated program guidance regarding how to put your emissions estimate together. And we do have a breakout session today, I believe, to go over that. So I'm going to go ahead and skip this slide. Okay. All grantees will be required to develop and submit a full MMV proposal for review and approval by DEP prior to the work commencing. The protocols and reports may be developed by a third-party contractor, and we strongly encourage folks to look at the IPMVP protocol. We can go ahead and drop the link for that protocol in the chat once I'm done with today's presentation. And grantees may submit for reimbursement of up to $70,000 or 1% of the total project cost, whichever is less, to help cover any costs associated with MMV. We do need to note that if the the facility has an existing monitoring system, such as a continuous emission monitoring system in their stack, for example. Those existing equipment items are not eligible for this reimbursement, but any new costs associated with the project can be included for MMV. Okay, next slide. All right, so for evaluation criteria, then I think I'm almost at time here. We will be evaluating applications based on the project and quality factors listed in this table on the next slide, and these are also listed in our program guidance. As the applications are reviewed, a comprehensive set of evaluation criteria will be employed. We have over 80 questions in our administrative screening review, just for example, and we have a multi-step screening process, including technical and financial feasibility analysis, and finally, an executive scoring level that looks at the program policy factors to make sure that the project truly aligns with the overarching goals and outcomes of RISE PA. Okay, next slide. Okay, so in terms of rollout, where we're at, I apologize, we do need to make an edit for this slide. So as noted, our prior application closure window for round 2 was July 15th. As of today, that has been extended to July 31st at 4:59 p.m. And we strongly encourage you to not submit at the very last minute if at all possible. However, we do have an hour after this time window closes of technical assistance available with the DEP Grant Center if necessary. If you wait till the last minute and run into a problem with your submission, you can call the Grant Center for technical assistance. Okay, next slide, please. Okay, and as Steve noted, we do have a variety of program resources available on our website. The RISE PA webpage, we have our program guidance document, which should be, we have an updated version that's being posted hopefully by the end of today that will be up there. If not, we'll distribute the PDF with the materials after today's call. We have a link at the top of the page for our medium and large scale applications. We have step-by-step application instructions. We have a new application checklist. And lastly, next slide, please. We do have open office hours now every Wednesday from 10 a.m. to 11:30 a.m. through the application closure window. So we strongly encourage folks to stop by, have a chat with our team, and then we're happy to have additional pre-application discussions after you attend those first office hours. So I'm going to turn it back to Steve and the Reimagine crew, and thank you all for being here today. It's great to see the attendance today. Thank you.
Catherine, thanks so much for racing through that, but doing so clearly. We're going to turn now to Carlos Castle-Valles of the World Wildlife Fund's Renewable Thermal Collaborative, who's going to drill down a little bit on the community benefits bonus. And since he had at least a hand, I think, in the biggest successful bonus award, he knows whereof he speaks. Carlos.
Thank you, Steve, and thank you, Catherine, for a really great overview. Hello, everyone. My name is Carlos Clausel. I lead the Climate Community Benefits and Social Impact work with the World Wildlife Fund, also known as the PANDAS, or WWF. As Steve mentioned, WWF is the co-founder of the Renewable Thermal Collaborative, which is a coalition of organizations. We're talking about 130 plus organizations operating around the globe, working together to advance decarbonized thermal energy, so industrial heating and cooling with clean energy solutions, clean solutions. And from the first round of RISE PA awards, RTC members, we had 4 RTC members were awarded, and including the second highest award as well. And I'm here to speak to talk more about the community benefits bonus. As you all know, if you've attended the previous webinars and sessions from the RISE PA team, it's pretty clear what the criteria and the requirements are for the community benefits bonus. I'm going to quickly go over them. So the community benefits bonus can bring up to 10% of the total project cost for your project. Projects that are located, of course, and also benefiting impacting communities. I understand the term impacting communities referring to communities hosting industrial operations, which we also know that the majority of those communities hosting industrial operations are often low income and disadvantaged communities, or meet that criteria. Also, through that bonus, applicants must submit a community benefits plan to show how these investments from the project and obviously from the RISE PA grant allocation can flow to impact the communities and respond to communities' priorities and needs. As looking at the criteria that has been shared by RISE PA grant program, the community benefits plan needs to define a community beneficiary and also enact community partnerships. Needs to make sure that there's a strong participatory planning to it, so community beneficiaries inform project planning, development, and outcomes. And for large-scale projects, you have to commit to a community benefit agreement. And there's ample information. Reimagine Appalachia can share a lot of information around the community benefits models and community benefit agreement structures if you're looking for that information. Last thing to highlight, and then I want to share a personal note coming from my work with some of these members that have been successful in receiving awards, is that benefits to impacted communities is one of 10 evaluation criteria items, and also one of 6 quality factors according to the RISE PA grant program. So it is a really important element to make sure that you have a strong application to really consider the community benefits bonus and overall understand how your project can benefit communities hosting industrial operations. The thing I want to make an emphasis on, and this came up from last summer when we did a similar webinar, an in-person convening also in Pittsburgh, and engaged potential applicants, is that the community benefits bonus is not a philanthropic activity or endeavor. It is something you need to think about community benefits as an enhancer of the project outcomes, as a contributor to your business operations. It needs to be seen as a project from a project feasibility standpoint and a business feasibility standpoint. What we're saying is that a lot of the industrial operations and a lot of these industries operating in communities across the state have need to access and secure the social license to operate in those communities. And when you look or think about how to approach a community benefits plan, if you want to tap into this bonus, it needs to be tied, or you need to think about it as a core element to project feasibility and business feasibility. It is not something that is a nice to have or separate from the actual project, but it needs to really find a way of complementing and benefiting the overall outcomes, and in a way that it really aligns with what our community priorities and community needs. So thank you all for making time to share a little bit of the community benefits bonus, and we will happy to answer any questions and also discuss this in more detail through our breakout sessions. So now I pass it on to Steve. Thank you.
Thanks. And after the next speaker, we're going to have a Q&A session, which is both on the bonus awards, but also on all of the program information that you've heard today. So if you want to start thinking about your questions and even put your questions in the chat, that would be great. But first, we're going to hear a little bit more about the Fair Labor Bonus from James Kunz, who's at the Pennsylvania Foundation for Fair Contracting. James, take it away.
Thanks, Steve. Let me bring up my 2 little slides just to give you something to look at instead of me, and just has some details. The Fair Labor Bonus is a bonus award that, like the Community Benefit Bonus, can award up to 10% of the total project costs, as Catherine so eloquently described in her breakthrough speedy run of the complete program. Just remember, it's total project cost, so make sure you dot those I's and cross those T's. And the purpose of the Fair Labor Bonus is, they say, under the direction of Governor Shapiro and the Secretary of the Department of Environmental Protection, is to deploy concrete strategies that support high road labor practices and ensure the creation of high quality jobs with diverse, highly skilled workforce. There's different requirements based off the size of the award that you're going for. The small award track, you have to choose one of the 3 elements. Medium, 2. of the three elements, and surprising, nobody in the room for large scale, three of these application elements. And so I'm just going to briefly go over the three uh, application elements and sort of the definitions that they use. I would say to when you're doing the application, seek out the appendix that has the fair labor bonus. It goes into great detail about what's required. A key thing to know is that if it asks you for letters of support from partner organizations, and this goes for everything that you apply uh, for the RISE PA grant, please submit those letters. They are vital to your award. Please do not forget to submit them. Make sure you reach out early and often to your partners. I know it's always like pulling teeth to get them to write their letters for you, but make sure that you submit those on time and with your application, and make sure that they're detailed about exactly what they're going to do. So the first part is the good neighbor bonus. Again, you are going to choose a number of these based on the size of your award track. The good neighbor bonus is one option. And basically, that's a partnership through the local community and local businesses in order to invest in training and commitments to pay wages and benefits above the prevailing wages for construction, and commitments to pay above average wages and benefits for your hourly workers. This is to make sure that the jobs being provided through this grant program uh, are above and beyond the average. And if you do that, then you can apply for this bonus. The second is collective bargaining commitments. This is a two-parter, and it's pretty straightforward. You commit to negotiate a project labor agreement for construction activities, and then you commit to remain neutral during any union organizing campaign at your facility. So if you're a manufacturer and you would uh, work on negotiating a project labor agreement for the construction portion, but you would also commit to remain neutral, permit union recognition through contract ending, a number of other things as described in this paragraph. And you need to go into details when you're doing this application exactly how you would do that. The third is the CWTP, which I'm going to read the name because I always forget it, the Commonwealth Workforce Transformation Program. I should have put that up there. This is a program created by executive order by Governor Shapiro to use portions of the IIJA, the Infrastructure Investments and Job Act, and Inflation Reduction Act money in order to provide on-the-job training. You're going to need and be required to have a 15% apprentice utilization for the construction as a base requirement of the entire grant. This is an easier part of the fair labor bonus for you to hit, to include in your application. And what you are going to do is dedicating up to 400,000 of the FLB to provide on-the-job training for CWTP trainees. This includes $30,000 of reimbursements for the cost of the training, as well as, and most importantly, $10,000 in supportive services such as daycare or transportation, etc. Overall, this program is designed to encourage you to have the highest labor practices and labor standards on the job site, both at in the construction of the changes that you're going to make to your facility, but as well as for the individuals that work in your facility and the community around it. I would encourage you to take advantage of this program and to go for this grant. And if you have any questions, there will be a breakout session specifically on this and the apprenticeship requirement, where we can go into details and answer anything specifically. And with that, I will pass it back to Steve.
Thanks very much, James. Okay, so now's your opportunity to join the conversation and to ask any questions you have about any of what you've heard so far. I have a couple of additional prompts that I'll use at some point, but I just want to start by throwing things open to people and seeing if folks have questions. You can put your question in the chat. You can also put your hand up. And again, we're a small enough group that I think you can just raise your voice and ask your question as well. So, yeah, so have at it. And I'm going to count on the other members of the Keystone and Reimagine team to spot things in the chat if you see them. So I'm actually, oh, here we go. So Kathy, I'm going to toss this to you. Have there been any notable changes between round one and round two?
Okay, yeah, there are a few changes, and actually the updated program guidance was just posted to our website before today's call, thankfully. So there is a call out on the website that shows which areas were updated. We made some very minor changes. The biggest thing is that we are not allowing energy as a service providers to be the primary applicant for round two. An energy as a service provider could be an applicant partner, a contractor, supporting the primary applicant, but we are requesting that the primary applicant is a qualifying facility.
I'm going to point out one other sort of tweak, which I think is coming soon. The first time around, there was a line in the application about people uploading their community benefits proposal as a single document, and there was some guidance on the community benefits bonus as an attachment. But there weren't actual application questions, unlike the rest of the proposal. It's not up yet, but coming soon, I think there will be kind of a template set of questions that people can follow when they're submitting community benefits proposals. So Catherine's free to correct me, and I hope I'm not speaking out of school here, but
yeah, you're fine, Steve. Yeah, so this was developed, that the resource that Steve's talking about is a resource that was developed in coordination with our bonus award advisory committee. And so we currently are working on getting that document through our internal document processing approval process, and we hope to have that posted hopefully before the end of the month here. And then just a few other items I did want to call out in relation to the program guidance updates. So we did make a note, for the round two solicitation, what those dates are. We took out the reference to a potential 3-year period of performance, just because we're getting closer to that April 1st of 2029 end date. I made the note about the energy as a service provider. We updated some guidance on how to submit the trade secret form. And then also we do need to call out, given everybody knows what's going on with the current federal administration, who, we're as happy to work with as we were our previous federal administration. But under the current administration, the Justice 40 program is not currently being implemented. DEP is directing applicants to use our pen and screen tool. And given the spirit of what we were asking for in the original RISE PA program guidance, to develop a community benefits bonus application using the pen and screen data and tool, and kind of follow the spirit of Justice 40, although it's not currently being implemented under the current administration. So we're happy to answer any questions about that after today's call. And then it looks like we do have a question about where there were, pardon me, 2 questions regarding public records for the applications. I will say they're not online yet. That's primarily because we're a small but mighty but very busy team. So that's been a little bit lower on our priority list than, getting the grant awards out the door and standing up the first part of the program. The public records for applications are currently available through a right to know law request, and I will grab that link again and post it in the chat for folks. And we're happy also to help you if you have any questions, or direct you to the folks who can help if you would like to file a right to know law request. And if things calm down a little bit, I think we may like to try to get those applications posted online later, also with the permission and awareness of our first round applicants.
Yeah, and one other related thought that I thought of early this morning, and so texted Kathy, is one way possibly of getting a few proposals up sooner would be just identifying 2 or 3 kind of exemplary proposals and seeing if it's possible to accelerate making them publicly available before all 31 become available. But so the team that supports RISE PA and RISE PA itself are all trying to be very responsive to people's legitimate requests for access to successful proposals. I'm going to throw out a couple more prompts quickly. Again, people are still free to put questions in the chat and also, ask questions once I'm done. But there's sort of 2 other things that we'll take questions or input now, or again, information in the chat. One is, we would welcome if any of you have firsthand knowledge. Maybe you provided, helped write a successful grant, but firsthand knowledge, including of successful community benefits and fair labor bonus proposals. We'd love to hear those stories, whether you have the courage to speak up now, whether you have, or you want to put your information in the chat and say you're open to a follow-up call, or again, you can also, if you've had that experience, that might be something you want to share if you're available to provide technical assistance to somebody on round 2. So, and then the second thing, to go back to one of our goals in today's meeting, we're really trying to get more applicants in the room next week. So if you have specific proposals now, or verbally or in the chat, or you have follow-up input, you'll get not only Molly Updegrove's email, you've got lots of other emails that are coming in the PowerPoints that will follow up this conversation. Again, we need all hands on deck in terms of ideas and action in terms of outreach to get applicants in the room. Okay.
Yeah, Christina's hand is raised.
Okay, Christina, take it away.
Yes, hi. Quick question since we're there's $57 million left available. What is the maximum grant you anticipate for a single project with the remaining funds?
Okay, yeah, that's a great question. Thank you. So we're hoping to award potentially one very small large award. So that would be at the lowest end of the large award range. So we're looking in the maybe $20 to $25 million range. And then the remaining funding, we would be looking to prioritize smaller medium award tracks. So that would be, we'll say anywhere from 2.5 to 5 million, give or take. Although our smallest award for the program so far was 500,000. So I think it's going to just depend for the medium award track applications in round 2, the size and types of projects that we get. But we would like to, I think, award as many projects as possible, given the amount of funding that we have remaining.
Okay, and one follow-up question. With this, could the award in that $25 million range, could that be for a demonstration project if it's a very large project, or would it need to be for a completed project?
We are looking for novel technologies. We do look at the technology readiness level. So we would look to have the applicant supply some data verifying the project's viability in the field. If it's a completely hasn't been field tested yet, and that's what you're looking for funding for, I think we might want to discuss it a little bit further. So we'd be happy to schedule a pre-application screening call with you.
Sure. I meant more about the scale of the project. So if it's a multi-billion-dollar project and we want to apply $25 million to just do a demonstration on the site with those funds, and that can help us to raise funding for the complete project. But the technology is TRL 7+.
Okay, I want to say I think we'd probably need to look at the application and make sure that the data supports the proposed emissions reduction.
Mhm.
I think that's the best I can say for right now.
Thank you.
Mhm.
Great. Okay, so we're now going to go to the next part of our agenda right before our breakout groups. Molly Updegrove is going to lead us through a Mentimeter, and she's got a couple questions that are designed to help us learn who's in the room, and then also to help us get a bit more information from technical assistance providers. Our goal is to ultimately upgrade information on technical assistant providers. So this is your opportunity to make sure your services are communicated to the target audience of potential applicants. Molly, take it away.
Yeah, so if you haven't used menti.com before, I believe Liam from our team is dropping the participant link in the chat or has already dropped it. You can either click that link to participate, or you can also go to the QR code that is up on the screen and type in the code. It might also have, no, I think it's just the QR code, not the web. So yeah, so just go to the QR code or the link in the chat and you should be able to participate. And we're going to ask this question first, just so we can get an idea of who's here in the room. And then we're going to take a minute or two to have folks fill out a short Google form to hopefully collect some more information about trying to share out technical assistance opportunities to potential applicants. So, so far, it looks like we've got several people responding. Happy to have so many community and labor partners here, as well as technical assistance providers, some potential applicants. And we'll keep this one up for just another moment or so as people are getting to the Menti poll.
So it feels like 21 people haven't, or 20 people haven't opened it yet. If I can do it,
Please
you can do it.
respond if you can. And especially when we're about to move to the Google form, that one will be really important for people to interact with. I'll walk us through what that's going to look like, but definitely like to get as many people that are attending here participating in this poll as possible.
And
And
Molly,
if you're
can I?
having trouble with the link, you can ask us for help in the chat, or you can also put your answer in the chat. If for some reason it's giving you trouble, you can just let us know how you would describe yourself. And if you're marking other, we also would like to hear from you if you want to put in the chat what you're counting yourself as.
Molly, am I allowed to say something? Can people hear me?
Absolutely, yeah.
Okay, sorry. So I see there are 3 potential applicants. We'd love it if you would, if you're able to communicate that in the chat, who you are, and also after we come back from the Google form, if you're willing to sort of say just a few words about your proposal and any challenges you want help with, that would be great. But either way, we're very glad that you're here, and yeah, would love to know more about you, including whether or not you are able to attend next week. Back to you, Molly.
Yeah, thanks, Steve. So I'm gonna switch us for now. Feel free to keep interacting either in the chat or in that Menti poll. It should still stay up for now with who you're representing, but we're gonna sort of take that a little bit of a step further and walk through this Google form so that we can really hopefully provide some assistance to our potential applicants and help build some connections between our technical assistance providers and our community partners and the potential applicants. So Liam has probably dropped in the chat a link to this Google form. We're going to take a couple of minutes live here for folks to start filling it out, and I'm happy to screen share the responses as they start coming in as well. But just to sort of walk through the questions briefly, we'll just ask for name and organization, and then this is a very similar question to what you just saw in the Mentimeter poll, but just a way for us to capture that in the form is just what's your interest in RISE PA? And then here's the big question where we would like for folks to fill out, how can you help potential applicants, or what kind of help do you need if you are a potential applicant? So this is where we would really like for you to differentiate, like, what is it that you can bring to the table? Are you someone that can help with explaining or answering questions on the community benefit bonus, for example, or so on and so forth. So just how can you help? Or if you are a potential applicant, what are you in need of? Sort of like Steve just alluded to. And then if you're comfortable, we'd also really, it'd be helpful to have like preferred method of contact information if you are a technical assistance provider, so that if we do have a potential applicant that has a specific question, we know who to put them in touch with. So Hoping that we can just take a few moments to fill this out. I see we've got 2 responses already quickly coming through, so we've got some fast people. And is anyone, let me know, feel free to come off mute if you're struggling with the Google form link at all. And did I miss anything, Amanda, since you helped put this form together?
No, that was perfect, Molly. We're hoping to put together the beginning of a list of technical assistance providers for industrial decarb projects more generally that may have some longevity to it, as well as community and labor partners. I know we have some labor partners. The apprenticeship utilization requirement is exciting for us, but is potentially new to you. And we have some folks that hopefully can help you navigate that process as well. So getting that on writing, we're hoping to put together a technical assistance resource guide.
Yeah, this is great. Thanks so much that folks are filling this out. I'm keeping it currently on the screen sharing on the big question, which was just how can you help or what are you in need of help with? And you can see some of those responses coming up on the screen now. And we're certainly going to have time as we move into breakout sessions here soon for folks to get really specific with questions. So definitely be thinking about anything you want to address with the folks that are here to help with technical assistance. Just make sure this is refreshed. And we're just going to keep this open live right now. I mean, folks can definitely fill this out after the fact as well if you're still trying to fill out the answers, but we'll keep this up for another moment or so that folks feel like they've got time to fill it out now while we're here.
Okay, Molly, if we have a few minutes left, I did see we do have one of our round one awardees on the call today, Julie Schuff. Julie, feel free to unmute if you'd like to share a few maybe lessons learned from the application process. Thank you.
Sure, yeah, happy to share a few comments. Hi, everyone. I don't have any prepared remarks, so I'll try to keep this brief and not rambling, but cut me off at any time. I actually attended this similar webinar last year, as well as an event with the Southwestern PA Municipal Hub, and that's how we learned about the program. We are committed, and via our parent company, we've set a bunch of 2030 goals for decarbonization, but actually making those goals a reality can be really challenging, as a lot of people know. So this project was really a boon for us to help make some of these projects we were exploring kind of become a reality. We attended in person last year as well. We had never done really anything like this. So if this is new for you, I highly recommend attending in person if you're able or making use of office hours. I've been I won't say annoying the RISE PA staff, but engaging the RISE PA staff as much as possible via their office hours, just when I have kind of a simple question. So we learned a lot throughout this process. I think our final application was more than 80 pages. So I'll just back Catherine up and say, do not wait until the last minute. It took us many months to prepare this, especially talking to different chambers of commerce or community partners or things like that. Like, things just take time. So don't wait. It's very labor intensive. We didn't have any kind of consultants to help us, so we're learning by doing. So definitely leave yourself some time. We did find that the RISE PA team was very responsive to our questions, and we'll have calls with you. So if there's things that you're maybe curious about, but you don't want to talk about in a public setting for any reason, you can talk to them about that. Yeah, we felt really supported throughout the process. We're super honored and excited to have participated in round one. And obviously it was a positive experience if we're going to try again for round two. So yeah, very It's been positive so far, and yeah, happy to answer any kind of general questions. If other applicants have them, I can share my email.
Thank you so much, Jolie. And yeah, I want to give you a shout out because you're one of our most engaged and if say diligent. You're always trying to get the correct information, asking great questions, and that's what we want to see from our applicants as well as our awardees. So thank you.
And I'm going to add one other thing. Julie and her team at her company are about to find out, as is the RISE BA team and some of us who support the RISE BA team, about a next part of the process for awardees, which is convenings, both virtual and in person, of grantees to promote technical assistance and peer learning during implementation. And I mean, I think that whole process is going to be a huge value added for at least many of the grantees, because getting together with other companies that are trying to do the same thing and wrestling with some of the same challenges is a gold mine for companies doing better. So I mean, I really do think that the money that grantees get is just part of the award being incorporated into what we and what the RISE BA team hopes will be the most dynamic and effective decarbonization community of practice in any state. I think it's going to be it's another reason that people should apply for round two. So with that, I'm going to tell you a little bit about the breakout groups, and then Molly, you're going to let people pick which ones they go to. Yeah.
Yeah, I can tell you, I can help facilitate the technical stuff if you want to talk at all about the content.
I'll talk through the four of them. It'll take me 45 seconds. Alana Colvin, Pentap, and Jim Clark, a consulting engineer, are going to be talking about getting to 20% and beyond. You know, you have to get to 20% emissions for medium and large awards. And you've already heard from Catherine that some of the strongest first round proposals used multiple technologies to increase their emissions reduction, which is total common sense. So hear more about that from Alana and Jim. James Kunz of the Pennsylvania Foundation for Fair Contracting will be with Steam Fitters 449 Apprenticeship and Training Coordinator Brad Tisdale, talking about Apprenticeship 101 and the Fair Labor Bonus. Carlos Clausel and Amanda Woodrum and me taking notes will be in the Community Benefits Bonus breakout group. And then the fourth one is another version of Office Hours. Catherine Tully and her team will be ready to take your question about your specific application or any other questions you have related to the program. So four very practical breakout groups